So if you clicked on this video, you probably want to get better at math, right? You're probably struggling in school, struggling to keep up with the teacher and what they're teaching, and you just want to get better at math so you can keep up with your curriculum. Or you might just already be good at math and you just want to get better at it, more advanced. So I'm going to teach you guys how to get better at math as a whole. Well, to start, for those of you who are struggling, there's probably a time where you got lost in your school career at a certain concept, and then ever since then, it's just been downhill. Because what did everyone start with? Everyone started with learning how to count, right? Like one, two, three, four. Everyone started with learning this. And I'm assuming that everyone knows how to count. Then what came after that? We learned how to add, subtract, divide, and multiply. Well, this is actually an important step because although a lot of you might think you're good at adding, multiplying, dividing, subtracting numbers, a lot of people still struggle to do this efficiently. For example, if I ask you guys what is 12 times 12, a lot of you probably wouldn't even know the answer to this. So, if you're one of the people who don't know what 12 times 12 is off the top of your head, you probably still could solve it. I would recommend learning all the times tables. And what I mean by times tables are, well, the times table for 2 would be 2 times 1, 2 times 2, all the way up to 2 times 12. So I would recommend learning the times tables from 1 to 12. And you have to know everything off the top of your head. So if I asked you what 12 times 6 was, you didn't know this off the top of your head. And I know a lot of you watching this are probably like, this is easy. So this is for people who are like really struggling. Next, after this, we come over to equations, right? So, or, well, there's still addition, subtraction, division. So for addition, let's say we have 49 plus 13. I want you guys to, a lot of people would need to do this on paper. You need paper to solve this. Well, what I want you guys to do, I want you to know this off the top of your head. I want you to be able to do this off the top of your head. So 49 plus 13, I can easily say that's 62 off the top of my head. And an easy way to do addition off the top of your head is, well, first start small. We have 55 plus 2. That's 57. Everyone knows this off the top of your head. So let's go a little higher. Let's do 55 plus, let's say, 6, right? Everyone knows this off the top of their head, 61. Now let's go even bigger. Let's do 55 plus 12. Well, an easy way to start by doing this on the top of your head, well, just look at the first digit, 55 plus 12. We have 5 at the tens digit and 12, or sorry, 1 for the tens digit over here. So add up 5 and 1 in your head, 6, and then just add up the ones digit. 5 and 2 is 7. So try to do this off the top of your head. Let's do 63 plus 13, right? 6 plus 1, 7, 3 plus 3, 6. And again, if you already know how to do these simple things, if you're already efficient at these, you can just go ahead and skip to the next part. Now, I want you guys to practice that. If you're still struggling with that, I want you to practice that every day and don't move on until you have a good understanding of that. Because if you want to get better, you have to know the basics. You have to have a strong foundation for the basics. Now, it gets to subtraction. It's really the same thing. So 56 minus 13, you subtract this, 4, 6 minus 3 is 3. It's really the same thing. You just have to have a lot of practice in that. And I want you guys to get better at this because when more advanced comes, you won't have time to really do addition on paper and stuff like that. You would have to do that all in your mind. That would just make it really faster and easier. So, yeah, and the last thing what we have is division, and this is where a lot of people struggle. So say we have 64 divided by like 8, right? A lot of people actually can't get this on the top of their head. It's 8. So again, for division, the best thing, the best way to be good at division is to first have a good foundation on multiplication, because the reason why we do 64 divided by 8 so easily is because we know 8 times 8 is 64. So let's do another one. Let's do 12 divided by 3. We know this is 4 because we know that 4 times 3 is 12. So first get good at multiplication, and then division will come pretty simpler. And then you could practice more challenging problems like, and long division is a big thing, by the way. So let's say 446 divided by, let's say 4. This is even a concept when I was younger I got stuck on. So there's a lot of videos online. I could just do a quick tutorial here. So we first look at the first digit, 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, right? So 4 times 1 is 4, so we just put the 4 here, we subtract this. And then now since we have a 0, we bring down the 4. Again, we have another 1, 6. And then how many times is 4 going to 6? Once. So now we have 4 times 1, which is 4. And now we subtract this, we get 2. So now our remainder here is 2, and then we have 111. So yeah, that's just a quick tutorial. That wasn't really good, so I would recommend just going and watching videos on that if you're still confused on that. Okay, so now the second part is where we get into equations. So let's start basic. Let's start with, let's say x plus 1 is equal to 2, right? Because I know a lot of people, again, find this really easy, but we have to start basic. So how do we solve this? Well, this is basically asking what number plus 1 is equal to 2. So what we have to do is when we see this plus 1, we have to bring it to the other side because our goal is to isolate x. So I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides, and I get x is equal to 2 minus 1, which is 1. So we basically, our goal is to bring x by itself on one side, and to do that, we're going to have to get rid of everything else that it's on the side. And when we see a positive, to cancel it out, we use a negative. So now we could do the same thing with subtraction. We have x minus 1 equals 3. Now we have a negative, so we add 1 on both sides, and we get x equals 4. So this is really basic. So now let's go. I would recommend trying a bunch of, if you're still struggling with that, try a bunch of practice equations online with that. And then we can go on to, say, 2x is equal to 8. So this is where we bring in multiplication and division. So now to isolate x, this right here is the multiplication, so the opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 2. So x equals 4. And let's say we have 2x divided by 3 is equal to 7. To do this, we have division here. So what we want to do is we're going to multiply both sides by 3 because that's opposite division. So we get 2x is equal to 21. And now we have multiplication, so we're going to divide both sides by 2. So that's basically all I'm going to explain for equations, just because that's all you need to know really for solving algebraic equations. A lot of people struggle because they don't have much practice. All right, so the next part, I know there's a lot to math. I can't explain every single concept. I'm just trying to explain to you guys where you need to really focus on to get better at it, because these are main concepts. Equations are a really big part of math. Multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, those are the fundamentals because you're going to be using them everywhere. So another thing that I want you guys that I even had a lot of problems on was geometry. This is the final concept because geometry is can be really tricky. And the main things I want you guys to have a foundation on is area, volume, and perimeter. Because this is where a lot of people get stuck on. And even we also have surface area. These four concepts are a part where a lot of people get stuck on. So having a good understanding of these will make you better. So for area, there's different formulas for different shapes, but the basic, let's say, of a triangle is just going to be width times height. So let's say the width here was 5 and the height was 9. The area would be 9 times 5, which is 45. And now for the perimeter, it's just going to be width plus height times 2. So it's going to be 9 plus 5 times 2, which is 28. Now, the volume is for 3D shapes. So we have a 3D cube here. Let's say the height is 4, the width is 3, and then the length is 9. Well, the volume of, the volume is going to be 9 times 4 times 3. It's the width times the height times the length. So this is going to be 36 times 3, which is 108. And there, for the surface area, I'm not going to explain this, but just there's a formula that goes with that. So just do that. Now, for more advanced stuff, let's say in your calculus or even further, now that you have a good fundamental approach to all of these basic concepts that you were once struggling on, you can do better in calculus because you've already grasped these. Many people struggle. There's many people that were in my calculus class that couldn't even do simple equations. They didn't struggle on the actual calculus part, but they struggled on the algebraic part. So once you have a grasp on the fundamentals, everything else forward just gets much, much simpler. So I hope you guys learned something from this. And if you're struggling, I hope you just start at the fundamentals and then move on. Thank you.